Hello everyone, I'm recording this video for week 5 of Illustrator. We are going to create a new document and we're going to understand how to use layers. So the first thing you want to do is do File, New, and you want to keep it at Print. And you can just let it default to Letter. Go ahead and say OK. There you go. And if you don't see your layers panel immediately available, then you might want to recognize the way it looks on the panel. It usually looks like 2 sheets of paper, and if you don't see it, go to Window, Layers. There you go. And it pops open for us. It automatically defaults to 1 layer. You notice that there's an eyeball here that you can turn on and off, helping you separate what you're working on from something that maybe is showing from behind or underneath the other layer. You also have a lock. You're able to lock that layer so that nothing moves, for example, or that you can't accidentally draw on it, things of that nature. So there's also down here in the layer panel, you can create a new layer. You can also create a sub-layer of a layer, and there's also a panel options. Lots of different things you can do. You can flatten your artwork similar to Photoshop. Collect some of the selected items and pull them into a new layer. Release to layers. You can hide layers, paste remembers layers, and also use it as a template. So lots of things you can do to create and manage your layers in Illustrator. So one of the first things we're going to do is we are going to create a layer and move objects to a different layer. The first thing we're going to do is in the Layers panel, click the name of the layer above which or in which you want to add the new layer to. So we'll go ahead and just do a new layer. And this one's going to be, let's just say test. Say OK. And we're going to make sure we're on that. Obviously, you know you're on a different layer if it's selected. So we're on the test layer. So to add a new layer above the selected layer, click the Create New Layer button in the Layers panel. So we'll just test out doing that. It automatically brings us a 3rd layer. To move an object to a different layer, select the object in the Layers panel. So what we want to do for that is if we had an object, let's go ahead and create one. Let's go ahead and just create. Bump open our swatches panel and make sure this is colored green or something like that. We have a green object. We know it's on layer 3. We're going to select this object in the Layers panel, and it shows it automatically moves us to layer 3. And then drag the selected art indicator located at the right of the layer. So since it's selected, this is the art indicator if you hover over, and you probably wouldn't know it was there, but now that I told you, you know it's there. All you have to do, if you didn't want this on layer 3 and you wanted it on the test layer, you can go ahead and just drag that right over to the test layer. And now this piece of artwork is located on the test layer. Pretty nifty. Okay, to edit the layer name, you double-click the item name in the Layers panel and type a new name in the text field. So we'll just call that background. And we'll call this top layer. Okay, so now we're going to select one or more layers in the Layers panel. Let's just select the test, hold Shift, and then we're going to also select the top layer. Now we're going to choose Duplicate. Go ahead and we'll do Duplicate in the Layers panel menu. Duplicate selection. and we automatically get 2 more layers that look exactly the same, the test copy and the top layer copy. So now we're going to understand how to delete a layer. Select one or more layers in the Layers panel. So let's go ahead and select the ones we just copied. And to select more than one at once, you select one, and then you hold down Shift and you select another. And then we're going to click the delete icon at the bottom of the Layers panel. And then it automatically comes up asking us, do you want to delete this layer? Say okay or yes. There you go. Next, we're going to release items to separate layers. So that might mean that we have more than one item on there. So let's go ahead and add a couple more items on this particular layer. Let's maybe do a star. Change a color. Okay, so now we have a star and a rectangle, and they're both on different layers. So in the Layers panel, we want to click the name of a layer or group that contains multiple objects. So let's go ahead, and since we're here, let's select that blue and let's move that art to the second layer so that both of our objects are on the test layer. Okay, and then we've got multiple objects on there. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to release each item to a new layer. We're going to go ahead and say release to layers. Let's go up here. Release to layers. Sequence. Okay. So to release items into layers and duplicate objects to create a cumulative sequence, choose Release to Layers. Build from the Layers panel. So this one's great because this allows us to, we've got sublayers within a layer. It allows us to mess with each one differently, and I think that's pretty cool. So next we want to do is we want to understand layers and groups. We can create layer groups, and that is, if you feel like you have a very complex document or image and you're working on lots of different layers with lots of different items. For example, if there was a character with a hand and you had a bracelet on the hand and he was holding something, you might want to grab those 3 objects and create a layer group. And one way to do that is selecting one and then selecting another layer and going up here and allowing this to be a layer group. And that is somewhat easy. You just have to make sure that you make sure that these layers are selected, and then you go up here and do merge selected. So now we have those layers selected, and then we have these layers within the sequence within. So that's just a handy little tool as well for you to understand within layers that you can actually merge the layers into one group, and then you can work on them in sequence on separate subgroups or sublayers within that group. And the next thing we're going to do is move along to the next video for clipping masks. We're going to understand clipping masks a little better, so I'll see you in that video.